and really play to our standard. And now it's a new challenge going on the road, another SEC opponent on the road that is a better team than maybe what their record and numbers show. This is a very capable team, but I think our guys have been handling with a lot of maturity. I think if anything with our players right now, if you look at them throughout the season, dealing with the ups and downs, the adversity, the highs, and then some of the things they had to battle through. There's a lot of maturity that's grown and a lot of leadership that's grown with a lot of our players. And I think these guys have been handling the week the right way, and we know the task in hand and what's in front of us.
What's the challenge been this week for the possibility of them using two different quarterbacks?
Yeah, anytime there's variables that occur, what gives you confidence going into a game is when you have a really good grip and understanding on what you may see and what they may do. So you do have to spend time on what has been on film. Most teams now, they have like 10, 11 games of footage out there, so you're going to get a lot of repeat plays. And then when you're seeing two quarterbacks show up, obviously we have to identify, okay, does the DNA of the offense change with one guy from the other? What's going to be their plan? What's going to be the approach? What are we going to do to combat that plan? And then spend time to make sure we give both the quarterbacks are capable. So we got to make sure that we give both of them the respect that they deserve and have a plan for each one of them.
Does anything change with your secondary specifically?
There are some things that we're going to look at. Obviously, you don't want to reveal too much, but there are things that we have to be aware of. Obviously, you look at going all the way back like to the Texas game. Nine's a very capable runner. Both of them are very capable runners, and by nature of them being spread out with wide splits, they provide its own challenges in terms of how you're going to combat rush lanes and how you're going to combat quarterback plus one runs, and then what's going to be our plan just to make sure that we're not giving up explosive plays.
As you go through the recruiting process, there's across the country there's guys wanting to play at Alabama. What's kind of like the base level of attributes, whether it be physically, mentally, that you're like, okay, these are the criteria you have to meet to get our attention? I guess for you as we don't have enough time to maybe answer that in a short setting. Sure. We're trying to find the best people and the best players in the United States of America. And I think when you look at the DNA of what has always made, I feel like Alabama so special and so great is everyone looks at the championships off the field. I think you find winners that have been winners on and off the field, guys that have won in all areas of their life. And it takes special people, because I think the most common thing out there sometimes are maybe sometimes good players with maybe so-so character. So we're trying to find the best people that we feel like we want to bring into the locker room. And I have to answer to other guys that are already in the locker room. And if I'm bringing a guy in, they got to know that they're the right fit. Chemistry is big. I think with transient rosters right now, with guys going in and out of locker rooms right now, chemistry is a real thing. Getting guys to play not together, but to play for one another is a real thing. So we're trying to find guys that are high production guys, maybe somewhat of a 17, 18-year-old that maybe has you say low ego, but just has a good sense of self, has a good sense of awareness. Because what wins over the long haul in college is that every guy may enter in a different place. Yeah. Maybe one guy's a little bit more talented than another guy, but over 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, what wins in the long haul are the things that have real substance, the lasting ability, hard work, determination, character, commitment. Those things are still in style in our locker room. So we want to find guys that love the game. We want to find guys that want to be great teammates, and then we want to find capable guys that we feel like can turn into high-level SEC player, draft pick type players for us, that we can continue the tradition to push guys on to the NFL and to continue to hold trophies over our heads. What does that look like physically, though? Like what kind of stands out?
Well, players come in all shapes, sizes, and forms. Sure. You got so many numbers that you can throw out, but one thing that no one has really figured out is how to measure the spirit of a man. Yeah. So like, what is the real DNA? What is the real competitive resolve that a guy has? Who is he when things get hard? Anybody can go play well when everything's going great. Yeah. You really want to find guys that have that character, that when things get difficult, this is SEC football, this is high-level college football, things are going to get hard. Who are you when things get difficult? I want to see when a guy has a play away, is he going to chase the ball? When a guy responds after a ball's caught on him? When a guy, how does he respond to a loss? How does he respond when things don't go exactly how he thought they would go? That's real character. And when we find those guys that kind of fit that mold, those are the guys that really get our attention, along with all the attributes and guys that can play at a high level.
Against Mercer, we saw Zay Mincy play a little safety, and I know that's not necessarily your position group, but just where have you seen him grow in terms of his versatility and just his game overall?
Sure. Well, you look at our players. Zay started with us since we got here in January, really taking all those reps at corner, and we're trying to identify the best players, on the back end just in general. He's a guy that continue to always get our attention to the point where we're looking at our own self and our roster to find out how can we get our guys on the field and what maybe would be the best fit for him to right now have some immediate contribution to the team along with all the special teams work that he's done. So we made a little bit of a switch to put him at safety. He's taken to it really well. He's moving around good, and I think from an evaluation standpoint, it's always a reminder that, find long athletic guys that can run and make plays, and we'll find a place for you to go up to play for us on the field, and he's certainly done that.
Where have you seen Xavier grow this year? I mean, he was in position to make that defensive touchdown on Saturday. Just what have you seen?
Just steady. Hard work, steady commitment. Details matter to him. He wants to be great. I think a lot of it is, how great do you want to be? No coach can really push you to a place that you really just don't want to go. Our job is to find out what your goals are, push you even higher than those, but to meet you and be as accessible as possible to help you reach the goals that you've set for yourself from the onset. ZB Zabian has always talked about the type of player he wants to be, what he wants to look like on film, what his vision is for himself here at Alabama. So our job is to help him reach those goals. He's putting in the work. He's showing the dedication and the commitment. He's putting the time in with the film study. He takes every practice rep like a game rep. And so you see the on-field production. It's not a surprise. LSU, he's making PBUs. Georgia, he gives a game-winning interception. Last week, he picks up a fumble for a touchdown. All these things are just a byproduct of hard work. And when you put in the work the right way, the byproduct's going to look the way it does.
Oklahoma's receivers have kind of been a bit banged up this season, but what have you really seen from the players that are going to suit up this Saturday?
Yeah, they got an athletic group, and this is a group of receivers that are a lot better than what those numbers are. Those numbers are tricky. They're mistelling. They're misleading numbers because you look at them, they're throwing for under 200 yards a game, but there's guys that are open. You look at them, they've had some turnovers and some they're trying to find their groove at the quarterback spot. So all those things factor into some of those numbers, but they have an athletic group. When you look at the silent tape of those receivers, they can all run. They're dynamic. They got size. Even the smaller guys got twitch. They can get open. So we know that this is a really good group of players that we got to be ready to defend.
You mentioned Oklahoma kind of susceptible to some turnovers. How have you seen, we've heard from Coach Womack, just kind of the embrace of that from the defensive side of the ball in general? How have you seen that just with your unit? Obviously, Xavier, you mentioned getting the first non-offensive touchdown.
I think all things always begin with the ball. You think about how you attack the ball, how you leverage the ball, day one fundamentals, how you hold the ball, how you chase the ball. We're going to praise those that get to the ball. How do you punch a ball? How do you locate a ball? All things are the ball. So we put a big emphasis on the ball. We start every single day with turnover circuits, practice periods about all the intricate details of it's the ball. The game is about the ball. The ball is a program. And so we want to continue to see if we can put ourselves in a position to be on the plus side of that turnover margin. And you look at what wins in college football these days, it's explosive plays, it's turnover margin. Those are two big indicators of teams that when you're on the right side of those two numbers, you're going to be in the best position possible to get yourself to be in a position to win games. And we want to continue to make that true about our roster.
You mentioned the turnover circuit, kind of maybe expand on how big has that been maybe for your unit to kind of instill that and just, does that help kind of maybe where they have that competitive environment practice to try and get those turnovers? And
absolutely. I mean, we go out sometimes in practice and I'll throw out to Malachi or throw out to Damani, hey, how many are we getting today? We'll set a number for each other and then they're on a race to see who can get them first and we'll count them up. But I think, anything you can, practice and teach and emphasize, you want to bring all those things into alignment. We can say we want to take the ball away, but if we don't teach it the right way and we don't really make an emphasis of it, it's not going to happen the right way. So I think you look at all three levels of our defense that are able to affect the ball in some way. We know that if you can't become a great player if you don't affect the ball defensively. So we judge it, a lot of our defensive guys, by how close are you to the ball when the play ends, how much of an effect do you have on the ball, and then obviously operating inside the scheme and the framework of the defense to do your job inside of that. But those guys have been doing a phenomenal job. They're hungry to attack the ball, and it's something that we got to continue to make an emphasis as we go through the rest of SEC play and on forward throughout the rest of the season. Thank you, guys.